Hey everyone, it's Brian, your Gen X storyteller, back with another episode of Writing the Game. This is the series I began last year where I'm talking about the writing and designing of the tabletop role-playing game of Metcraft, based on my science fiction novel series, which also has a screenplay. The publisher, Storytellers Forge, invited me to create the tabletop version of Metcraft, and this is just another great way to expand the universe, the franchise. It's building more IP around this trilogy of novels. Hint, hint, there's going to be another trilogy coming too. So we've covered settings and background, and I covered combat, and I wanted to update you all that my son Tyler is now fully on board. He minored in game design in college and teaches game design at 2 different universities as we speak. He is going to help me. He's actually dived in, and we've been working on combat systems, unique, I wouldn't call it magic systems, but the way Metcraft as an element works, feels and looks like magic. And so players will have a lot of flexibility in our game. And this is episode 3. We're going to talk about mechanics beyond just combat, because with our flexibility, we're going to cover 3 areas. When designing a character, players will have the option of choosing their play style. We're not going to have traditional classes like Dungeons and Dragons. You can be a fighter, magic user, priest, healer, warlock. You can be a lot of things, and it's very specified. Well, in Metcraft, that is set in modern day, whatever city you want to set it in. My books are set in Los Angeles. The players will be able to set it wherever they want, but it's modern day, and there's no classes. It's going to come down to play style, and this is be like a person who really prefers diving into the melee combat, and they create a lot of handheld weapons with their liquid metal nanotechnology that comes out of their skin. So they can generate weapons, hammers, swords, all that kind of cool shit. Or you can be, let's say you prefer more hanging back and launching area of effect weapons in combat. This would be, you can, if your character has studied and learn the mechanics of it, they can learn how to create guns of various kinds. They can create other, ranged weapons. In other words, characters will be able to customize and play as they wish. Players will be able to design their characters and do a lot of crazy things with total customization. And we are harnessing the best elements of various role-playing games that exist. Open source games where it's encouraged and legal to utilize their rules. And we're going to sort of take the best parts of different ones and combine them into different things to suit it. Because let's say a character is in the middle of combat or is in the middle of a difficult situation. They want to create a mech, which is a form of liquid metal from their flesh because it's in their DNA. They want to create a tool or weapon to get out of this situation or to advance themselves. So they're going to have to roll based on the ability to make the weapon. They're going to have to roll on the structural integrity of the weapon and their ability to keep sort of cool under fire. If they're in an intense situation, their concentration could be, hindered by that situation, and therefore the structure of their creation could falter. Then, of course, we've got their attack rolls and we've got their damage. And damage is going to be something we haven't discussed yet. It's going to have to be an interesting conversation, because as layered as we're going to make this, we don't want to burden the game master who's running the campaign. That's going to be a lot to swallow. So we're going to try and make this as streamlined as possible, and yet add layers of complexity and enough randomness to make it interesting and fun. Now, beyond combat, there's going to be a lot of mechanics involving the different factions a character can choose. In the novel, I've got 3 opposing factions that have 3 different philosophies on how best to use this Metcraft ability. In the game, where there's going to be 6 factions, and each one will have a different philosophy, and some of them can work together easily, and some of them are so diametrically opposed that there's no way they can work together. So this is going to come down to sort of a character's moral code, moral ethics, and each faction will have a specialty that they can give to the character that's entering their faction. And we're going to design all that. In fact, actually, this evening, my son and I are having a meeting over coffee. We're going to talk about all these different things. And beyond that, we're going to discuss the campaign. In this game, I'm going to deliver not only the rule systems, but I'm going to deliver a campaign to run, a story to run characters through. So a new game master can take his friends, players, and run them through a game. And it will also help the building blocks for them creating their own versions, their own games, their own adventures for their friends to go through. So this is a lot. I just want to take you all on this journey. I really appreciate you guys watching all the way through. This is a long video, but it's an important one for people who want to expand their stories into other elements, other things besides just novels or screenplays. The more IP you build, the better your universe looks to a potential buyer. And that, while that is my goal, I've always had the dream of having my own role-playing game. And this is just fulfilling that dream of 12-year-old, 13-year-old Brian as he was playing Dungeons and Dragons with his friends. I always thought it would be fantastic to have a role-playing game of my own. Anyway, thanks for doing this. Thanks for coming along the journey. I really appreciate it. Please put in the comments any questions you have and anything you'd like me to discuss that I haven't already, because I'm sure I'm missing something. And I will see you all later on today.